Hello, and welcome to a brief introduction to Threads culture software for performance management. The first place we'd like to start a new introduction to Threads is with our tools. We are not here to tell you what you have to do for performance management. We're really here to ask you what you want and need to do for performance management. In other words, we think you probably know better than anyone what's going to be required and successful in your organization. So, what we do is we start by selecting from these five tools. We can set up goals and objectives. We have a place to provide feedback and for employees to give self-feedback, for managers to take notes. We have the ability to check in, to do any kind of surveys you might want to do. We're going to, of course, wrap all that together in a review process, and then we give you reporting on the other side. So the first place we really start inside of the application is on the four-quadrant graph. The four-quadrant graph is really important for two reasons. Number one, we're going to ask you what the organization's core values are. What are the kinds of things that are important to the organization in terms of employees' approach to work, their style of communication, how they interact with others? We know that there's a set of those rules inside of every organization, whether they're written down or not. We're going to help you unlock what those things are and make sure that we set objectives around them for every single employee. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you want to look at in terms of results. Results are going to be unique and specific to the job title if you want them to be. You can also create one set of expectations for every employee in your organization. That part's going to be completely up to you. So here's where the customization comes into play. Initially, we're going to ask you to provide core values and how you define those core values. And what we're going to then do is we're going to use an onboard knowledge base that gives us the ability to search keywords and to provide you examples for what, in this case, open or good communication looks like. You'll have the ability to edit these items and even remove items from this list. So again, we want to give you a really good place to start, but we don't ultimately want to tell you what it is that you have to do. Okay, from here, we want to go to the Documents tab in the software. And once we're in the Documents tab, we want to show you that every single position in the organization is going to be listed inside of the software. So once we have the positions listed, what we want to do next is this. We want to be able to show you that inside of our process, you're going to have job titles. Those individual job titles can have the same expectations for every single position. Or again, using our knowledge base, you can go through and select your industry, and we can go through and find the job titles that match or come very close to the job titles that you have within your industry and within your company size. And once we select those, we can import them into the software. And what that's going to do is it's going to provide us a unique set of expectations for each position. In other words, rather than measuring the amount of work we do, the quality of work, our job knowledge, and other generic style terms, you're going to have the opportunity to measure position unique expectations. And so it lays out this way. What we want to do is provide you with a basic expectation, or what we call a criteria, the ability to weight that criteria, and then we want to give you the ability to see and set expectations around what that criteria is going to look like in terms of success. In other words, what are the steps that you're going to take to make this expectation successful? So as you can imagine, nearly anything is possible. If we go back to the job titles list and select another position, what you'll find is that even within the same company or organization, you may decide that goals and objectives are important here. And you may want to significantly weight those goals and objectives. What we do is we give you the expectation to say and to communicate what's really important in your organization and to members of your team. So once those expectations are set, what we get to do then is we get to go to the performance review process. And if you have experience here, what you're going to understand is that this is usually where the arguments and disagreements start. So the first thing you're going to notice when we open up this review is you're going to see this four-quadrant graph. And as I mentioned at the outset, core values and results are the important part of our measurement. But what this graph does is solves a classic problem in performance management, and it's this. It's called averaging. Typical performance management averages together how we do our work and what we do for our work, and it calls it performance. In other words, teamwork, attitude, initiative, averaged together with the amount of work we do, the quality of our work, and our job knowledge equals performance. What we want to communicate here is this. Performance, in fact, good performance is really about doing both things. So this graph is going to give a visual representation to the employee in terms of how that performance looks in both areas, not one averaged together with the other. So you'll notice in the top right-hand corner of the application here, if I click this, we've got templates available. You'll notice up here, once we've selected a template, we have the ability to customize. In other words, you provide your instructions. We have the ability here for you to select your rating scale. And again, this is one thing that people argue about all the time. Should it be 1 to 5? Should it be adjectives or stars or emojis? And all we're going to tell you is this: pick what works best for you. In other words, a customizable rating scale should give you the ability to label a score of 5 as exceptional performer. It should let you use the score of 5. Or if you want to even rate somebody, perhaps like Amazon does, you can use 5 stars. At the end of the day, pick a rating scale that works for you, that's custom. And then on the right-hand side, we want to give you the ability to define what those ratings mean, because the two things are together. That's what's really important when it comes to rating. Because look, everyone has biases when it comes to rating. And what we want to do here is give you the ability to see both. So once we've set a rating scale, you'll notice down below that we have the ability to create questions. Every review that you'll see has a certain series of questions to it. You'll see multiple choice questions here. You'll notice on the right-hand side that we have question types and answers. Adding a new question to the review is this simple. Removing a question from the review is that simple. And in fact, editing a question that comes from one of our templates is very easy to do as well. At the end of the day, we want you to have something that works for you. And like Threads always does, we're going to give you a really great place to start. So this is the review process and how it works and functions. So customization and questions, customization and rating scale, and again, criteria that really fit what your organization is trying to accomplish. From here, we want to get input from the employee. And how we do that is very simple. In the area of self-check-ins allow an organization to reach out to an employee with a variety of different documents. Everything from a self-review to professional development questionnaires, to employee engagement surveys, to initial goal setting or individual goal setting requests. What Threads wants to do here is to give you the ability to design a document that's going to work again for you and for your organization. What we do here is, again, start with a whole series of templates. You can select the template, and then again, you'll go through a very similar customization process. When I open this, you'll see the same thing that you just saw in the review form. Once you understand customization of reviews, customizing check-ins, going to be a very, very easy process to get going. And again, you'll find this out. When we get going and creating these self-check-ins, you're going to find that the employee is going to have the ability to rate themselves in a self-review exactly as a manager would rate them. You're going to see a different set of questions below. What were your significant accomplishments? The types of things that you'd love to hear from an employee in real time. So once we have the ability to create check-ins, you schedule what's important to you. And again, remember this, we give you the ability to create all kinds of things. And some of you are going to say, I want to do a self-review and I want to do a mid-year check-in. And what we would tell you is if that fits your organization, absolutely perfect, please do it. Other people are going to say, look, I'm looking for just a really basic review, and I really don't want to send things out to the employees in the meantime. And again, Threads works for that as well. You pick the items from Threads that you want to use to build a process, again, that fits you. Okay, so now that we have check-ins, a way to reach out to employees and ask for information for them, the last thing, and probably one of the most important things is Threads, is the ability for you to take notes and for employees to communicate in real time. One of the things I like to do here is I like to open up the visual view of the software, and you'll see that we work from an org chart. Working from an org chart gives everybody a clear understanding of who has responsibilities, who reports to who, and then maybe most importantly, how data is visible inside the application. So with the give feedback button here, managers are able to make notes about employee performance in real time. Every organization inside of the feedback area is going to be able to create custom tags. And in that case, we can select an employee. We can select that individual from the list. We can go in and we can tag this information to make it relevant. In other words, I'm providing a goal update today. I can attach a file of something that's been accomplished and I can submit that information. The first thing you'll notice is this. There's an eyeball next to the person's name. In this case, we're allowing somebody to just simply take a note. In other words, I've seen something, I've verified something, I wanted to communicate something. This gives you just that ability to take a note. With one click of that eyeball, though, you'll see the picture change to green. And what that means is I'm going to take a note and I'm going to share some feedback with the employee as well. So threads, you can shout out, hey, congratulations, good job, appreciate the update, thanks for the hard work. You can do those kinds of things. And you can also take notes along the way as well. Employees will have the ability to do the same thing. Employees can give feedback. They can select themselves from the list and they can do the same thing. They can tag some specific information. They can say, hey, I need to change a goal because something's changed within my day-to-day work. And they can make a submission to the manager to be able to see that as well and submit the feedback. Again, the ability to attach files too. So this part of Threads allows everybody to communicate at a pace that's really right for them. Let's face it, some managers are going to have one direct report, and maybe making a lot of notes isn't going to be important, but you do have managers that maybe have 6, 7, 8, even 10 direct reports. And for them, making notes is a really important part of this process, because what it does at the end of the year is it makes the review relevant. We're all trying to avoid that recency or halo effect where we just say things in general like Mike had a good year and Mike is a valuable employee. This allows us to record real things in real time, and it allows us to share those things if necessary. And it's also going to create visibility of those issues for the person that's leading the organization in this case, and also for your HR professional. So giving feedback, requesting feedback, providing self-feedback, checking in, reviews. These are the tools that Threads has. And remember, at the end of the day, the most important part is you pick the tools and process that works for you. And once you've done that, by simply clicking on the pricing guide here, you can enter in your number of positions and you can actually print yourself a cost estimate. You can choose monthly payments with no contract. You can choose annual payments. You can choose 2 years up front, saving 10 and even 20%. And down below, you'll notice maybe one of the most important parts of the pricing page, and that's this. All features are included. The knowledge bases are included. Support is included, and there are no tickets or limitation to support. Training is going to be included. The setup is going to be included. Look, there's nothing else you can even buy from us. At the end of the day, we want to give you a suite of tools that helps you build something that's right for you. And once you've built that, we want to give you the ability to customize it and change a little bit over time. And of course, we want to support you every step of the way. So that's Threads. Thanks a lot for listening. Hope you have a great day.